Hello everyone. Today I would like to present to you my new distortion guitar pedal. I will be building a couple of new units and I will be looking for musicians to test them and give me some feedback, so stay tuned for that. There will be updates in the next videos. But today I want to show you why is this such a unique pedal and what are the advantages of this design. I will gonna be talking through some of the features it has, and you're gonna be able to hear the sounds it produces. I'm gonna show you the recording equipment I have, and just so you understand how the process is made. Alright, so here I have a mixing desk. It's a Warfidel Pro R1604. So it is just basically gonna be a buffer between the pedal and the computer. Even though I don't need it, I'm gonna use it because it makes my recording a little bit easier. But the pedal is designed to accommodate situations that don't need such a configuration. But with this I can easily switch between the channels. I have the microphone hooked on, and it's very easy and simple to record it to my laptop, my old trustworthy laptop. And I'm gonna be using Audacity for that, obviously just standard. Okay, so let's hook up the guitar and move on. Oh yeah, the guitar is my trustworthy Yamaha ERG 121, and I'm just gonna record to maybe get some nice shots with my GoPro. Okay, as you can see, the pedal is a little bit different than some other pedals on the market. Mainly, it has a single knob and it has an antenna, which is fairly unusual addition for a guitar pedal. The story with one knob is it has multiple LEDs that designate in what mode it is in. So by single press, you can change the mode. Let me demonstrate that. So if I turn on the pedal by pressing it and holding on, it shows you the status. The top LED is the status, and then this LED is circling around depending on the mode which you are in. So this is currently green, and if I press this button it goes blue, and that's now distortion on. This is just clean. So the idea behind this was to make the enclosure really small, but to still pack a lot of stuff inside. So with having many knobs, there is not a lot of space to put other stuff, and it just maybe kind of helps declutter the system. But also, one of the most important things I wanted to achieve was to make it pocket size, so you can easily put it in your pocket or anywhere you like and make it portable. That also means that it is battery powered, like most pedals are, but this one has a lithium-ion battery. So it is a rechargeable lithium-ion battery which you don't have to change it, and you can I made it simple to charge in a sense that you can charge it with a standard 2.1mm jack, with center positive pin and 9 volts of DC voltage, or you can use a cable. Let me show you. A cable like this, which is just a USB to 2.1mm. So you can charge it with any USB charger, like for a phone or from a computer or from a power bank. It's your choice. So it accepts anything from 5 volts to 9 volts using this jack. Now, maybe the most interesting thing with the pedal is the antenna. The antenna is there to transmit audio. So it's an FM audio transmitter. It's very similar to the transmitters that you find in cars the ones that you put in your battery lighter and then connect your phone or something, and then you can receive it on radio. The idea behind this was to enable the players to use, especially for young players who don't have enough money for expensive equipment, for amplifiers and stuff like that, to just use any kind of radio you might have in the house. And that's not just one. So this is a very simple way to connect multiple radios. So for example, if you have two stereos at home, you can turn both of them on, tune to the same frequency, and you can listen what you're playing. So makes it much cheaper for people to start playing, because they don't need to pay for expensive guitar amps, because you can use a very high quality stereo that you already probably have at home, and it's probably gonna make as good sound, if not better, in terms of quality and bandwidth, so the frequency response, because guitar pedals do sound a little bit muffled. They don't have tweeters, and so the high frequency is a little bit blurred in most of them. So using like a standard Sony hi-fi system or something like that might give you a really supreme sound. Even though it is over FM radio, it's still gonna be good. Now the idea was, obviously it needs to comply with laws, so I have a bigger antenna and a smaller antenna. This is much bigger, so in order not to be heard for on a long distance, you can use the smaller antenna. That is, if you're playing really close to your radio, just a couple of meters, basically in a single room, or if you for some reason have a really big room or want to be heard a little bit further, in maybe 10, 15, in some cases maybe in 20 meters, you can use this antenna. So it's just an SMA standard antenna, and you can basically change the range of the transmitter by changing the antenna. Now I wanted to go on some other points. I tried to make the electronics design as kind of as high quality as possible. So for that I've used very modern parts, modern amplifiers and SMD components. One of the main requirements was to make it really small, because there was a lot of things that I wanted to achieve in the pedal. So by using old-fashioned through-hole components, you can't really put that much in the pedal, and especially not if you want to have these digital properties like an encoder. This is not a potentiometer, by the way. This is an encoder. So with an encoder, you can have a more complex menu and basically change the settings. You're not limited to a single function. One other very important thing is if you're using an encoder, and like I'm using it here in combination with a microprocessor and digital potentiometers, I'm limiting the length of the audio signal path. So in classical systems, you have the audio signal path going through the potentiometers and through the cables, and that kind of does minimize the signal quality. In this design, I only have the signal going through these cables going into the PCB, then the signal gets processed on the PCB and goes out on the other side, obviously buffered. For everybody who cares, the main 6.3mm audio jack output has a 100 ohm impedance, and the input impedance, which is probably the most important, is 1 mega ohm on this design. So this is how the board looks from the other side. some power supply, circuitry, LEDs, and the encoder. This is the main side. This is where all of the fun stuff happens. So one of the main features of the guitar pedal that I wanted to have in this, which is gonna be particularly useful for beginners and for other musicians who like to be adventurers, is to have a headphone driver. Now this headphone driver is capable of driving headphones of down to 32 ohms of impedance, so pretty much covers any possible headphones that you can find on the market. You have a 3.5 millimeter audio jack, standard connector to accommodate that, so you can easily plug the headphones that you might already have. In addition, it can easily double as a line output. It's a stereo connection. Even though it plays mono signal, it's still stereo, so there are two channels, so you can use it as an aux output, and this is exactly how it's designated, aux out. So maybe it's a little bit misleading. Should have been headphone output, but so you know that's a headphone output, and you can use it to drive a standard 3.5 millimeter stereo audio jack to play it either on a radio or stereo, or to record it, connect it to a computer or whichever device you might have and record it. Also, you can record using the standard 6.3 millimeter jack, but it's down to your choice. Also, a very interesting feature to make this pedal kind of a all-around solution for portable music playing is the capability of aux input. So the main reason why I wanted to have that was to be able to play with music. So what basically that means is you can take your phone or your computer or whatever audio source, MP3 music player, if anybody still uses those, connect your music source to the 3.5 millimeter jack, which is designated as aux in. You can see it here. Obviously this is aux out. You can use it to play alongside the music that you're playing. So you hook your guitar in audio in and your music source on aux in, and then you can jam to your favorite beat. That's very, very useful if you also want to record, because you can connect your music source, connect your guitar, and then just connect to the output and listen to what you're playing, jam to the music easily. You can also, as I said, connect headphones to the output, and you can then jam through your headphones to the music being played and your guitar. Now, the cool bits. The LEDs that you can see here, the top left is, I named it in clip, and the top right out clip. So those are clipping diodes. As the signal plays in, you can see them first going green, and then when you're approaching the too high, too much, when you're pumping in too much volume, it starts to show you red before it clips. So that's just a way to keep the sound really clean, so that you know exactly where you are. So obviously if you're seeing barely any green, you're gonna know that you're not quite loud, but if you start seeing red, you're gonna know that you're driving it too strong, so you need to lower the volume. So same for the input and output. Then the bottom left, let's say next mid row left, is in volume, which is an adjustment of how loud the distortion is. So the way the pedal is designed is the clean volume is fixed up until on the first stages of signal conditioning amplification, but the distortion signal path is changeable. So that mode is to change the difference between the loudness of the clean and of the distorted signal. So that's kind of once you start switching the bypass switch. So once you start switching the bypass switch, you can see where you are in difference between the clean and distorted. Next one is status, which I already said, green and blue, depending on whether you're in clean mode or in dirty mode, let's say. Let's go this way. Let's go this way. Out volume is the overall volume, the output volume. So the more volume you have, the louder the output is. Again, you have out clip, and that shows you basically how loud should you go, how loud can you go. This is probably the most important bit, is the distortion. It works basically like any other distortion. It's nothing particularly fancy, apart from distortion having a little bit harder knee. So it's not particularly soft. It can give you some really proper metal sounds, rock sounds, screaming. I'm going to show you in the next part of the video. I'm going to demonstrate all of those sounds so that you can see what I'm talking about. This bit here, that is one of the most important bits of the pedal. It's the frequency adjustment. So the FM frequency adjustment, FM transmitter frequency adjustment. So when you're in this mode, when this LED is lit and you change the encoder, you basically change the transmitting frequency of the device. Unfortunately, as it stands, it doesn't have a display, so you can't know what frequency you are at. But obviously, if you are searching on your receiver, on your receiving end, you're gonna know where you are. One also important thing to notice is I have made it so that the steps are at 0.5 megahertz. So usually you have much lower resolution in your radios, but this is 0.5 megahertz just because the number of channels, if the stepping was, for example, 0.1 megahertz, that would be a lot of channels from 87.5 to 100 megahertz. So this way it's kind of a little bit rougher, and you can go up and down the scale with just a couple of turns of the knob, which is just makes it simpler, and there is no need. I do want to warn you, just for the sake of everybody else, don't transmit on frequencies that are already occupied. Try to find a frequency that doesn't have any other stations on it and play on that station. Also, if you don't want to play, if you don't want to be heard on the radio waves, just disconnect the antenna. It's really simple. If you unscrew it, that's it. You're not going to be heard, and it's not a problem at all. So let's put it back because I like it. And the last bit is the filter. The filter is a really nice low pass filter, which is a second order Butterworth filter. So it might be a little bit different than some other filters used on other guitar pedals. I know some of them have a little bit of resonant point to the filter, but this one does not. This is just a very good Butterworth low pass filter of second order. So it has a really sharp cutoff frequency. I hope everybody's gonna appreciate it. as I do, because it gives some really nice bass notes. The guitar can really flourish under that. So let's go to the recording station and let me show you how it sounds. So to give you a better quality sound, I have moved now the recording to the mixing desk, and I'm using a standard microphone. Unfortunately, my microphone stand has broke, so I can't use it, and it is what it is. So I apologize for a little bit of pops and these sounds. I'm sure you already know how it feels, but let's go on. So first I'm gonna show you just the clean sounds, and let's go on. Let's now turn on the distortion finally. So this is at the lowest level of the distortion. So I have went kind of before and set up the input volume. So there's the the difference between the distorted signal path and the clean signal path. So to roughly be the same or similar. So now let's actually try and change the distortion level. And with this, with the light behaving like this, we can see that we have reached the limit. So when you're changing it in the spectrum, it just makes a tiny little blip. I'm not 100% sure if this shows on the camera or not. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. So you can show a little bit, but once you come to the end, it's like this. It tells you that you have reached the end of the control. It's the same with the bottom side. You can see reached the end. Everything else is adjusted by ear. So this is at its fullest. Let me show you how the filter works, because that's really interesting.
So also by changing the filter on the guitar, the tone control, you can get all range of sounds. Now I want to show you how it is, how you can connect on another audio input and jam with your guitar to the music. So in order not to get any YouTube copy strikes, I'm gonna play some of my music. It's not quite guitar, but it does demonstrate. And you can see in this mode only the output diode is clipping. The input clip is only for the guitar input. So let me quickly demonstrate that. So if I go on and pause the music, you can see that you can continue to hear the guitar sound. Obviously, all of the control features for the guitar stay the same because this is a different audio path for the audio. It basically joins the guitar path only at the very end when all of the audio is processed. So let me demonstrate that quickly.
You can change the relative loudness of the music by simply changing the level output on your audio player to match what you're playing, and all of the controls for the guitar stay the same, so you can change the difference between the loudness and between the clean and between the distorted sound, as well as the final audio output, which does not in this case include the audio from your aux input. The aux input basically stays the same, so you define that through the use of through the volume of the device you're using to play the music from. One of the good things obviously is that there is a little bit of amplification there, so this can kind of double as a fairly loud headphone amplifier. Unfortunately, it is mono signal, but I'm looking to change that in the future iterations of the device. Let's now demonstrate you how you can connect headphones to the system and listen what's going on. I can make it much louder as well. Now it's hard to say from the camera, but this is really loud. This is serious. And that is basically how you can play your guitar and listen it over headphones. Play your guitar on another piece of music from your audio player, and do all of that while enjoying the sunshine outside, just on a road trip or whatever. You can also use this pedal to put many stereos in a single room and then have a super loud system instead of having some expensive guitar amplifiers. You can just use your hi-fi, tune into the frequency and blast the speakers. And yeah, brings me to the last final thing. Just gonna show you that how it works. Now, just to demonstrate this, I will be using my phone to receive the audio. I have completely reduced the volume. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm just gonna disconnect this output altogether so that nothing is connected, just the input to the pedal. My microphone is still connected to the mixing desk, and everything is recorded from the mixing desk with the computer. But now also my phone is connected and is tuned in to 87.5 megahertz, which is the default frequency for the pedal. It spawns on that frequency, so you can clearly see the audio. You can clearly hear the audio coming through. You can also use this mode with the aux input as well, so there's not a problem with that at all. You still need to have a separate audio player. You can't use the phone, for example, to receive and to play the music. Phones just can't be the player and receiver basically at the same time. There might be a little bit more hum on the FM radio. That is gonna heavily depend on the quality of the receiver you have, but that is just something that we have to live with, at least for now. until I get a better system for transmitting. So please let me know what you think. How'd you like this video? How'd you like the guitar pedals? Show it to your musician friends, because I am looking for somebody to give these pedals a bit of a bash, and to let me know what do they think, whether they would change it, whether they like the sound, whether they like the functionality. So yeah, if you know somebody who is interested in that, who would be able to test it, hopefully somebody who lives in Bristol or near Bristol in the surrounding areas, I would love to meet and for you or somebody to test the pedal and let me know what you think. So for everybody else, please let me know what do you think about the concept, and thank you very much for watching this maybe a little bit too long video. Bye.